welcome back to Weekly Korean Live class and my name is Keijin. 안녕하세요, 케이진입니다. And 안녕하세요, 침침입니다. Yes, and thank you very much for joining today's class too as usual. Angel and Essie the Great, Chris Practicia, Cody, awesome, thank you very much. And Kwati, of course, 안녕. And on Facebook too. So thank you. And today's topic is very, very important. Wow, so welcome. And today's topic is about Korean u-irregulars. U-irregulars. Even in English, there are some irregulars, right? And it's important. For example, let's think about study. And I study, you study, he studies, she studies, right? So sometimes the form of the verb changes in English, and it's very important to use the correct form when you when you speak and when you write in English, right? It's exactly same in Korean. We do have these irregulars, this exception. The shape of the verb changes, the adjective changes. And yes, it follows a rule. It just follows a grammar rule, but there are exceptions. For example, I learned to see. I see my friends, see. So when I conjugate it as a past tense, I just need to put ed, right? I studied, I exercised, I walked, so I just put ed. But how about to see? Does it become seed? No, this is an irregular. This is exception. So you have to memorize that the past tense of to see is saw. I saw her. I saw him. It happens in Korean too. That's why it's important. And there are several irregulars that I already did, like 르 irregulars, shoot irregulars. But today's topic is u-irregulars. If you haven't checked my previous video about irregulars, please don't worry. This irregular is nothing to do with the previous irregular. So even though you don't know the irregulars that I introduced previously, you will be okay. You will be fine. Okay, so before starting our lesson as usual, do you see the banner? Yes. So if you click the link in the description, you will be able to download a lot of different things. And here's an example. 짜잔! Yes. So you can download today's lesson note. Not only that, how about this 한글? Hangul is the Korean alphabet. If you are not familiar with Korean alphabet, you can download it here. Or all my previous worksheets are here, so please check it out. You can download them free. You just need to sign up for free. We do have paid membership, but to download this PDF, free PDF, and to watch my videos, you don't have to get any paid membership. Just free account is completely okay. So check it out. The link is in the description. And again, these are all free. Okay, so let's start with irregulars because it's not easy. It's not easy, but don't worry, it's not too difficult. You just need to practice many times. And my smart students, you can do it. This is an intermediate, by the way, intermediate grammar. Right, Practicia, this is part 6. Yes. So many lessons. Nate, that's right, because I do the live every Thursday, right? Okay, so let's start the irregulars. So let me introduce what is u-irregulars. What is u-irregulars? So I have this. Do you see this board? For example, do you know 바쁘다? 바쁘다? means to be busy, to be busy. And first, let's look at the verb stem or adjective stem. Find the stem. What is a stem? Quite right. You're a smart student. All the Korean verb and adjective end with 다. Just remove 다. Then you only have 바쁘. Yes, this is the stem. And please see if the stem ends with sound. 바쁘. Yes, it ends with sound. It ends with this sound. Right? So, since the stem ends with sound, this is one of the irregulars, so it doesn't follow our regular grammar rules. When you conjugate with a or o, there are many other conjugations, right? For example, 고 싶어요 meaning I want to, or 으면 which means if. So if I'm busy, so if, or what else? What else? There are a lot, right? But they don't count here because the 으면 or 고 싶어요 start with 고 or 으. It's not a or o. It doesn't start, the conjugation doesn't start with a or o. So there are two important conditions that you need to think. First, is the stem ends with 으? Which means, is it one of the irregulars? If it's yes, then you have to look at the conjugation. Is the conjugation a or o? Is the conjugation start with a or o? Then yes, then now you have to conjugate it differently. So I'll show you how to do it. Don't worry, it's not going to be so hard. You will be okay. Okay, so let me show you the example of irregulars first. Yes, I already prepared. So here are irregulars. First, 배고프다. To be hungry. Why is it irregular? It's 배고프. It ends with, the stem ends with 으. So it's irregular. 끄다 meaning to turn off. I turn off the light. I turn off my phone. Turn off. 기쁘다. These are all dictionary form, by the way. Dictionary form end with 다, right? And 기쁘 it end with 으. So it's irregular, meaning to be glad, to be happy. 나쁘다 meaning to be bad. bad. 나쁘다. Or 담그다 to soak. So for example, you put maybe you put your bread to soup. 담그다 to soak for a while. Or you put your clothes to the water. 담그다 to soak. 담그다. Or 뜨다 meaning to float. Something is floating on the water. 뜨다. 모으다 meaning to collect, gather. Oh, there are a lot. 바쁘다, this is what I introduced today. 바쁘다 meaning to be busy. And 슬프다 to be sad. And 쓰다, it has two different meanings. First, as a verb, means to write. I write my name. Or to be bitter. You took a medicine. It's bitter. Or to me, beer, the alcohol is very bitter. So 쓰다. And 아프다, to be sick. 아프다. Or 애쓰다. it end with, the stem end with 으, so it's one of the example too. To try. And 예쁘다, be pretty, to be pretty. Flowers are pretty. 예쁘다. So these are the examples of irregulars, and you follow different rule when you conjugate 아 or 어. Oh, there are more. Yes. 잠그다 mean to lock. You lock the door. 잠그다 or 크다, to be big. 크다, to be big. 트다, you open something. Or sometimes when you are tired, your lip is you see some chop, right? It's cracked, so it's 트다. Or sometimes the sprouts coming out is to sprout, is 트다. 싹이 트다. So open, chop, or this chop is also opened, right? Your lip is opened. Sprout too is coming, it opens. So it sprouts. So anyway, these are some examples. So hello JD and 정우 and John, Disha, and of course Lo and Giselle, Donna, Mingjun, Gailon, Ariana. So are you okay with all this verb and adjective? These are the examples. And let's look at how to use it. So first, you have to make sure that the verb or the adjective is one of the irregulars. Is it one of these irregulars? You have to see. It's not very difficult. You just need to see the stem and who is the stem ends with 으 sound. If it's yes, then it's irregular. And number 2, make sure that the following conjugations start with 아 or 여. So for example, let me bring 바쁘다 to be busy again. It's not showing. Height. 바쁘다. And imagine I want to conjugate it with 으면, which means if. 바쁘다 means busy. So I want to say if I'm busy on that day, I cannot join the meeting. So I want to conjugate it. In that case, you just follow the regular rule because it's 으면. It doesn't start with 아 or 어. The conjugation doesn't start 아 or 어. So please forget about all this rule. If the conjugation start with 아, it doesn't start with 아 or 여. 아 or 어, actually. Sorry for the typo. It's 어. Number 3. Get the stem of the verb or adjective. Okay, I'll get the stem. What's the stem? I show you my screen. What's the stem here? Just remove 다. This is a stem. Okay, I did number 3. What's number 4? Replace 으 sound in the stem, 으 sound, with 아 or 어. Okay, interesting. How? So remove 으 sound and it should be 아 or 어. I have to choose one of them. So how can I choose? There are rules. Rule number 1. So there are 3 different rules. If the closest vowel is 아 or 어, use 아. If the closest vowel is not 아 or 어, 아 or 오, use 어. If the stem has just one syllable, use 어. What does that mean? Let me show you the example one by one. So let's look at this. If the first vowel is 아 or 오, use 아. For example, now I just 짠. Oops. 짠. So it was originally u, right? Remove u. Let's replace with one of them. And let's look at the closest vowel. The closest vowel is this, right? This is a sound. A sound. Ah, I see. So why wrong graphic? So closest vowel is a or o. So I use a here. A here. That's right. Then imagine I have another example, which is, let's try 예쁘다, 예쁘다. 예쁘다, meaning to be pretty. Okay. Number 1, I want to see if it's irregular. Yes, if I delete 다, then it's end with so it's irregular. And just imagine that I want to conjugate it with a or o. I don't know which one I will use. So, 짜자자잔. Let's look at the closest vowel, which is closest vowel is this. It's yes sound. It's not a or o. So I now use o sound. I use o sound, but I don't use this directly. I only use this part. This part, not this. So 예뻐, 예뻐, 예뻐. And I have another example. Now I want to write a book. I want to write a book about life of Chim Chim. What is to write in Korean? Which is 쓰다. I see, 쓰다. Okay, so now I want to conjugate it with a or o. A or o. I don't know which one I should use. Okay, so let's look at this verb first. Let's get the stem. Remove that. It's it ended with vowel sound, which is vowel sound. It's irregular. Okay, ping pong. Number two. So I remove this. Oh, wait. I don't have any closest vowel. What should I do? I see. If there's any vowel before this sound, then just use o. Always use o. Yes. If there's just one syllable, then you always use o. Or this o. So it becomes so. So a lot of people are confused with this. So please just remember this and let's practice a lot. And here's something that you have to be careful. How about this? 다르다. 다르다 meaning to be different. It's different. Oh, you look different. 다르다. 오늘 좀 다른데? 다르다 meaning to different. Is it one of irregulars? Let's see. Let's get the stem. Remove that. Then this is the stem. 다르. It ended with sound. This is irregular, right? Boo. I'm sorry, but it's no. Because the stem ends with 르. 르 is different conjugation. So it follows different rule. And we already covered 르 irregulars, I think, two months ago. So 르 is the irregulars. 르 is a different irregulars. So please don't follow this irregulars. So 르 is different one. It doesn't follow rule. So forget about it. It follows different rule that I introduced 2 months ago. Check out my previous video. So It should not end with 르. 르. It should not. It should not. Okay, 가일롱, good job. This is 달라요, 달라요. Because it follows 르 irregulars, not u irregulars. Okay, so 짠. Let's try some more. Let's try some more. By the way, for some people who is not familiar with 아 or 어, they might be wondering what is 아 or 어? 아 or 어 itself doesn't mean anything. But in Korean, there are many conjugations that start with 아 or 어. For example, let me show you. 아, 어, 여, 요. This means present tense. Present tense. This is a present tense. So it doesn't mean anything. It's just a Korean present tense in spoken form. As you saw, all the Korean verb and adjective end with 다, but we never use the dictionary form. We don't use the dictionary form. When we speak or when we write, we conjugate it with a different form, and this is one of them. This is a present tense. This is how we turn the dictionary form of the verb or adjective to the present tense. So look at the present tense. It starts with 아 or 어, right? Another example is this. 아, 어, 여, 도. It means even if. So you conjugate it with dictionary form with this. Or 아, 어, 서. 아, 어, 여, 서. It means because. I can't go because I'm busy. 바빠서 못 갈 것 같아. So like this. There are some conjugations that start with 아, 어, 여, 서. 아, 어, 여, 서. And in that case, you have to follow this rule. So there are other conjugations that start with 고 or 으면. That doesn't count here. So let's practice more. 헝트레니. That's right. 다르다. If you want to conjugate it with this present tense, it becomes 달라요. Good job. And practice, yes, so smart. 달라요 is the correct one. Okay. When does this irregular words come to use? I think I just answered this. When you conjugate it with any conjugation that start with 아 or 어, we use this rule. Okay. 카울제이 안녕하세요. Now I have different verb for you, which is 아프다. So I write it here. 아프다. Yes. Meaning to sick. To be sick. 아프다. So let's look at the rule number 1. Make sure that the verb or adjective is one of the u-irregulars. How can I know it's u-irregulars? It's easy. Just remove 다. Then you have 아프, 으. It ended with 으 sound, right? 으 sound. So it's u-irregular. And let's look at what conjugation is coming. Let's just conjugate it with the present tense, which is just 아, 어. 아, 어. It's 아, 어, 여, but 여 is always conjugated with 하다 verb. And 하다 verb can never be 으 verb, so let's just don't think about it. So let's conjugate it with 아프다 with 아 or 어. 아 or 어. Okay, number 2. Make sure that the following conjugations start with a or o. Yes, the present tense start with a or o. Get the verb stem or adjective stem. Yes, it's here. I already made it. Oh, it's here. And number 4, replace the sound with something else. Something else. Which one should I use? Okay, so let's look at this. If the closest vowel is a or o, then use a. Let me see. The closest it hurt. 아파. 아프다. It hurts. Anyway, it's a great example for this. So the closest vowel is this a sound, right? A sound. So I use 아파 instead of a. So I'm supposed to use this a sound. It comes here like this. 아파. 아파. So 아파 means it hurts. I'm sick. So how are you? You don't look good today. And you can say, no, 아파. 오늘 아파. I'm sick today. 아파. 아파. So 아파, you conjugate it like this. Keijin, don't hurt yourself. Yes, I'm fine. I just want to show you the real example in real life. 아파. Jency, good job. And 아파 is informal. So if you want to be polite, then you put you at the end, as in 아파요. Kwati, please take care. Yes, I'll take care. Thank you. Okay. How about the other verbs? Let's practice one more. For example, how about this? 슬프다. Okay. So we have 슬프다. So look at this. Make sure the verb or adjectives one of u-irregular. It's easy because 슬프 Yes, the stem ends with u sound, so it's one of the irregulars. Bing bong. Let's move to number 2. Make sure that following conjugations start with a or o. Let's just think we are trying to conjugate it with a or o, which is the present tense, a or o. Casual present tense, casual spoken present tense. Number 3, get the stem of the verb or adjective. Stem is easy. Just remove 다. 슬프, 슬프. Yes, it ends with u sound. And now, rule number 4. Replace the u sound with a or o. I need to look at the closest vowel, which is this. The closest vowel is u sound too. It's not a or o, so I used o sound. So replace u sound with o sound. So I use the o sound here. So I'm sad in casual Korean is 슬퍼. Or politely you can say 슬퍼요. This is how we conjugate it. So 슬퍼 means I'm sad. Or even he is sad. Or she is sad. We are sad. They are sad. I don't know because I didn't put the subject here. And in Korean, very often we omit the subject here. Because in the context we can easily understand. So, well, it's okay to omit it. We understand it from the context. 코아티, 이건 너무 어려운, 슬퍼요. So it's very difficult, right? But don't worry, you will get used to it. How can you get used to it? You need practice and read it out. And why do you think there is an irregular? This is a question that I always ask whenever I teach you the irregulars. This happens simply because it's easier to pronounce. Easier to pronounce. So for example, 짠, 짠. Let's see. 아프다. Let's conjugate it with the regular grammar, the usual grammar. Usually, when you want to conjugate it with a or o, you first remove ta. And you have to conjugate either a or o. And let's put it closely. A or o. And when you pronounce it quickly with the conjugation, 아파요, 아파요, it naturally become 아파요 because this vowel sound is already opened. So your mouth is already opened. 아프야. So naturally your mouth become open, so it become 아파요. So Korean people don't think about the rules. It just happens when we pronounce it quickly and naturally our mouth just opened. 아파요. And this too. 예쁘다. Usually you remove this. And then you have to conjugate it with either a or o. The mouth is not very big yet. If it's a or o, your jaw is already big. O. But ye is not so big. Ye. It's not a, o, ye. So your jaw is already small. So naturally, when you say the next vowel, 예뻐요, it becomes this. So it happens very naturally. And 클라둔, that's right. Some Korean people say, 아파요. Because it's just a dialect. The correct rule is 아파요. But 아파. Some people say that. So I don't want to teach you the wrong grammar that Korean people use. So don't worry about it. Follow this, the standard Korean. But in spoken Korean, just some Korean people just use different conjugation as long as it's understandable. So don't worry. And Nicola, practice to hear. And thank you for the lessons. It's most exciting to learn with your style. Thank you. And 홍춘일, that's right. 하다 always become 해요. So 하다 doesn't have this irregular rule. So don't worry. So thank you everyone. And this is definitely not an easy grammar, not an easy irregular. And this is intermediate grammar, and even intermediate learners make a lot of mistakes here. So please watch this video again and make sure to download the lesson note and practice yourself. I put a lot of verb in the lesson notes, so please download it and practice on your own and watch this video and speak out to master it. Derian Adon, thank you so much for your donation. Let's understand it. Awesome, let's understood. Great, thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear that. And this is definitely not easy. I don't think I've seen any student who understand this grammar in 30 minutes and then use it fluently. Everyone need practice. So if you understand, that's very smart and awesome. Now you need practice. If you don't understand, don't worry, because that's normal. That's normal. The students need to understand this grammar for a little bit long time because this is not easy, it's complicated. JD, don't worry, because that's normal. That's normal. And people need to practice many times. So watch this video again and practice a lot. Okay, so thank you very much. Oh, Lauren, I'm happy to hear that you learned a lot. Kwati, wow, it's so fast. Yeah, time flies. It's already over. Disha, it was easy. See? Our students are extremely smart. So thank you very much, and I'll be back next week. And Disha, 숙제. Yes, I'll give you homework. Homework number one. We have 배고프다, meaning hungry. 배고프다. Please conjugate it with this one. 아, 어, 여, 요, which means present tense. Number two, we have 크다. For example, house. My house is big. 크다. And please conjugate it with 아, 어, 여서. Actually, 여서 is only used for 하다 verb, so let me remove it. And of course, I have another verb which is 기쁘다, meaning to be happy. Happy. So, please conjugate it with 아, 어, 여, 도. Please try it and leave a comment on YouTube and Facebook. We have YouTube comment or Facebook. On Instagram, you can't leave a comment after this. If you can, please leave it. And if you personally want me to check, you can tag me on my Instagram, Super Cajun. If you don't tag me, I cannot see it. So Super Cajun, or leave a comment on Korean Class 101 YouTube channel or Facebook channel. So thank you very much, everyone. And next week, of course, I'll be back with interesting lesson, which is frequently asked Korean questions. Yes, I always get lots of questions from Korean learners, and I answer them many questions, and I chose some common questions, and I will answer them. If you want me to answer some questions, please let me know in the comment too, so I can choose your question for next week's lesson. So thank you very much. Bro, VSCs, that's right. This Korean grammar is very different from English grammar, so I understand if it's confusing. 슬퍼. But don't worry, definitely you need practice. And when I see my students practicing a lot, they definitely improve. So don't worry. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week with frequently asked Korean question lessons. So see you next week. Bye bye. Chin, please say bye bye. Bye bye on YouTube and Facebook. Bye bye.